Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play Football Manager 2016 with Milan, and this is now the 11th of April 2020. We are on the final leg of potentially the final Milan season. I'm not making any promises, but as I say, I'm going to start looking for jobs soon, and hopefully, it does appear at least that we are ending on a good note. As you can see, 31 games played, just 7 to go, and still 8 points clear of Juventus, and if you look at our goal difference, it's just leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. If we look at a more detailed league here, as you can see, we've scored 49 goals and only conceded 17. It's weird because it just doesn't feel like it, but we have. I don't know how. But yeah, I guess we have. And 17, no one really comes close. Let's see, who's the best after that? Juventus. So we are slightly down on goals for. As you can see, Palermo, who I've just gone ape shit this season with the goals. 58, that's pretty impressive at this stage. So that's how things are looking at the moment, and these are how some games have gone since the Juventus game. So as you know, we won this, if you saw it live. If you've not, watch the last video. Sorry, spoilers. We then played Napoli 2-0. Aubameyang continued his great run of goal scoring with this goal here, and John Stones finishing it off. Again, really good, solid display from the players. We were worried for a long time about the likes of Bakker and Menez, Niang. Oh, they're not doing it for us. Where are the goals going to come from? Well, I think I've just found the source right here. Aubameyang's been absolutely fantastic, and obviously when you have your centre backs and your midfielders chipping in, with 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 goals each, that's how you go up to 50 goals. That's how you get there. And then we played Schalke, and in a very close game, we managed to win 3-2 on aggregate. Again, it's just a load of yellow cards. Thankfully not for us this time, but you can see the players there. They've got Sane, Arnold, Bittencourt, Joel Matip, who I believe Liverpool are being heavily linked with this transfer window. I don't know if it'll happen, but considering, in fact it might have already happened. I'm recording this on the day David Bowie died. R.I.P. sir. But yeah, it may have already happened. They've also got Juan Iturbe, Sami Khedira, Howard. They've got a half-decent team, so that's why it was a close-run thing. But if we look at the goals here, again, Aubameyang with a goal. He's just been absolutely wonderful. I've given Kennedy... Look, right, he's only scored, I think, 4 goals, and I've given him loads and loads of chances. Unfortunately, he just hasn't done it. He's quite unlucky, I guess, not to have scored in that melee. But nevertheless, it goes down to Aubameyang, and here is their goal. But it's like, I've got to keep a promise to Kennedy, but he's not paying me back. It's like, oh, come on. You're waiting for him to score, but can I really risk and wait, leaving someone else out who is going to score, like an Aubameyang, like a Mania, as he does here, for Kennedy, who, yes, I paid quite a bit of money for him, but he's not helping himself at all by saying, moaning, he's just running his mouth and then not scoring during this promised period. And because it's FMT and it's strictly limited, the only response is going to be more moaning. So there you go. But a lovely finish by Mania there, and he's really starting to kick on now. I think he's really relishing having a player behind him rather than next door to him as a striker. So that's gone quite well. And then I think I just took the piss a bit too much here with rotating the team. Now, as you can see, we had quite a heavy run of games here. There's three games in 8. In fact, yeah, that's 4 games in 11 days. Not the hardest you've ever seen, but still, I had to rotate the team a little bit, and this is where Diego Poyet sort of let me down a bit here. And as you can see, they played really well. We didn't. I played the likes of Gotti, I played Ferry, I played Poyet, Emmanuelson, Baumgartel, Grenier, Kennedy. This is a perfect game for Kennedy to announce himself against the bottom of the table team. And in the dress rehearsal for the Italian Cup final, we lost. Obviously, if I was actually putting a full-strength team out, as I will in the final, and to his credit, that's a belter of a goal. I assume it was a header, from judging from the angle and everything. But yeah, that was very peculiar. But then we had a good 6 days of rest, so I could play pretty much a full-strength team here. Fabinho and someone else got injured. Who was it? It was Tesiglio who got injured. Now, this was really funny. Salah, as you can see, scored an own goal, and again, the yellow card's starting to accumulate, but who cares? There's no sending off, so I'm not too bothered. What was really funny about this was that for ages and ages, the press kept building up Mohamed Salah, saying he's a real threat. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. He's the highest. He's got the most goals. He's got the highest average rating, and it was just relentless. Like, I've not seen a player build up like that for a long time. Usually you see it with Ronaldo and Messi, but that's because they are so good. With this, I just thought, oh my god, this guy must be in seriously good form. And if we look at him, he's done really well. I mean, and bear in mind, he's not an out-and-out striker. Yes, he can play up front, but he's mostly playing on the wings as an attacking midfielder. He's got 16 goals and 5 assists. An average rating is 7.53. If we go into the overall league stats here, he wasn't it. In fact, he's dropped out. Okay, that's a surprise. Probably that own goal, absolutely. But if you look, he was, or is, sorry, second and top goal scorer. That's not bad for a midfielder. So that's really funny. So for him to then go and score an own goal was just and that's a fantastic finish. Jamie Pollock, eat your heart out. What a brilliant finish that is for Mohamed Salah. At the wrong end, of course, but I was just howling with laughter when that happened. Made up for the Spezia defeat. But Alex Teixeira, at the second attempt against David Ospina, gets his first goal, and he has made another fantastic impact. He really has been excellent. Again, playing behind the striker, and it just seems to work for both teams. And then the Milan derby here, it was goals from Mangala and Aubameyang. He just seems to turn up on the big occasion, Aubameyang. He's so good at it, and the players did really well. Inter, incidentally, have been on a really good run of form. You might have noticed, and Handanovic, dear me, but you may have noticed that Inter have slowly been crawling up the league. They were sort of about 9th, 10th for a lot of it, and then they got a massive streak of wins together. Really impressive run of form. And they've been climbing up the table, and I mean, they were never going to win the title, put it that way, but what a belter of a finish that is from Aubameyang. Absolutely smashed it into the bottom corner. No chance for Handanovic. And then we lost 1-0 to Arsenal. Now this is away. Now this isn't the end of the world, and it was an early goal from Asamoah. This is the first time really Aubameyang and Pastore have just not turned up for the big occasion this season. Teixeira got injured quite early on, I think, as well. But look at that, they've got Kevin Volland. Arsenal incidentally do have a really good team there. Slightly lucky, Donnarumma punched it right in the direction of Asamoah, and that's his first goal of the season, I think it said. But if you have a look at their team, they've got Dybala, they've got Mignolet for some reason, Mesut Ozil, who's pretty much at his peak now at 31, maybe just over the top of that. They've got Asamoah, Casemiro, Ramsey, Volland, Koscielny, who is 34 years old, defensive centre-back peak, I don't know. Rulli, who I believe is one of the, not a wonder kid per se, but in terms of goalkeeper he is. Oh my god, them wages, holy Jesus. Let's see, how much they signed for? £24 million from Fiorentina. Just there's so many goalkeepers currently in Serie A which are quality, but he's another one that I'm hearing a lot of people and seeing a lot of people buy in their Football Manager saves and talking about and things like that. Obviously, whether he's going to be that good in real life, I don't know. But yeah, they've got Bruno Martins-Indi, they've got Alex Vidal. Coquelin's obviously come on quite well. How good is he? Yeah, he's pretty good. Coquelin. They've got, I can never say his name. Is it Alcácer? I don't know. But they've got a really good team, Arsenal. And you can tell because if we go, and okay, the fourth at the moment, managed by Jurgen Klopp of all people. Jack Wilshere, is he injured? Let's just see. I thought he wasn't, but I just wanted to make sure he hadn't been injured in the meantime. They are fourth in the Premier League at the moment. Chelsea really have just, God almighty, they've smashed through, haven't they? But they've won the last 2 league titles because they are a good team. So what this means now with the 2 fixtures we've got Torino today, who have fallen away dramatically. I mean, at one point they were, outsiders certainly, but very, very small chance of actually winning the title, and they've just fallen away completely. If we just look at their schedule here, oh yeah, goodness me, they haven't actually won since the 1st of February. Oh god, they might actually get sacked for that. They've only got 3 games. Oh, there we go. I was going to say, there's only 3 games left. So they've fallen away totally, and as you can see, Inter, I mean, there's only a few points in it, but again, they've got half a chance for a Champions League spot there, which is currently being occupied by Palermo. I think it's fair to say us and Juventus are going to get them top 2. But what we're going to do, because it is Friday, I'd like to do a double upload Friday, as we know. I'm going to do the Torino game here, live, and then later this evening, we're also going to do the Arsenal game live, so look out for that. We're going to go straight into this one here against Torino. Now, I've decided to rotate the team. Again, I know, maybe I'm taking the piss a little bit much, but one of the problem child from the game against Spezia, Diego Payet, is not playing. And I'm not playing Kennedy either. I'm going to play Mania. I'm going to play Gothi. I'm going to play Bonaventura. Ferry can handle himself well. I know I pulled him out last time to say, he was a problem. That was the first time he's really let me down. He's been terrific. He's only going to make 10 appearances a season. Maybe, at most 15 if I'm being very generous. But he is decent backup, this guy. Very, very decent backup. He is a regen instantly, if you're wondering. He's only 20 years old. But he's going to be one of those sort of players. Let me just check. I always seem to have these players here. He isn't a Milan. Is he from? No, he's not actually from Milan. Nor does he have a favourite team, I don't think. I can't see that. But I always enjoy having one of these types of players. They're not the best player in the world, but they're happy if they're just playing for a certain team, or if they're just playing 10 to 15, 20 games a season. And they can just come in at a wink's notice and just play and do well. 9 out of 10 times. And that's what I like. We've had so many over the years. I can't even remember the different ones. So let's see, who have they got? They've got Rashina, they've got Ada, they've got Tarat, and Zambrano at the back. So here we go then. And Benny Benassi in midfield. Wonderful. What nationality is he? Dutch? Is he a Dutch DJ? I think he is. Anyway, crap joke aside. Yeah, I can't remember. The one that always stands out to me, and I think it was Football Manager 2012, the best one I had for that period was Jason Malone for the Liverpool save. I always cite him. I always bring him up when I talk about this type of play, and that's because he was so good. His average, I'm trying to think actually, his average ratings were always pretty decent, but what really surprised me about him was that the scout reports and the assistant manager reports would always say, he's about 2 stars. He wasn't great, 2.5 if they're being really generous. So it was always nice for him to come into a team. Say we're playing, we're playing a Torino type team here. Someone on mid-table. We're at home. We should be winning. More than capable of coming in and just playing a good game. He's not special. You're not going to start him in a Champions League final. You're not even going to start him in the Champions League unless you really need to. Here's a chance for Mania, and it's gone over the bar. He's that type of player. And that's what Ferry is, and I'm hopeful he can be another one. And there have been many, many more. I'm sure there was one at Brighton on FM16. I had one at Derby, and I cannot for the life of me think who it was. Oh, goodness. We probably had one on the FM13 Liverpool save as well. I can't remember any on FM14, unfortunately, as I totally sucked arse at that game. It really was so bad at it. I just could not get my head around 14. We all have one, don't we? I'm sure. If you've been playing since 2005 and perhaps even longer before that, I'm sure you've just had a game that one version of the game where you just simply could not get into for whatever reason. Either you just found it too hard, or you just didn't agree with the UI, the user interface, and how it looked and things like that, or just something that you just couldn't take to. And for me, it was 2014, which is a shame. It's because that was when sort of Football Manager on YouTube started to actually get quite interesting, and a lot of people started to come in, and that was certainly the year from about sort of 2014 onwards. That was about the time when we started to see a real rise in Football Manager YouTubers, and I'm sure that many of you that are watching or were watching sort of back in 2012, 2013, now making videos. So that was a bit of a shame that I sat that one out. Anyway. Speaking of sitting out, Mania is going to sit out the second half. We are going to bring on Kennedy. He has another opportunity. I don't think this is going to go down as anything to do with a promise. We are going to play him as complete forward. Gotti has been fine, I guess. He hasn't done anything particularly wrong. Erby Emanuelson, I'm just going to use him as much as I can, but I'm going to use him now so that De Siglio doesn't have to play. It's because we are a little bit weak in the left back department. If he gets injured, yes, Daley Blind can play there, but he's playing as in defensive. In fact, I'm going to take him off as well, just to be on the safe side. And we are going to bring on, actually no, take it back. Take it back. Blind can play at left back, but if he is preoccupied in another position, obviously he's so versatile. He can play here, he can play here, pretty sure he can play right back as well. Then we're down to bare bones and Erby Emanuelson, who is now, I think, 34, 35 years. Oh, he's 33. Okay. But he is going to be leaving at the end of the season. His contract will be up. But he came in and did exactly what I wanted him to do. It was almost a carbon copy of, well, not exactly, but certainly pretty close copy of how he did for me at Newcastle on FM15, where I bought him in for free, completely, I just thought, okay, this guy's going to be a squad player, not going to be, I'm not expecting too much from him, and I think he pretty much won Player of the Year, or Newcastle Player of the Year. In fact, I think he might have even got in the top three. He didn't win, but I think he got in the top 3 players of the year in the Premier League overall, which is quite amazing considering he was just meant to be this rotation bit part player. Maybe that's what Newcastle need. They need Herbie Emmanuelson in real life, but then again, that's asking a lot. Well, in fact, I was going to take a poke there at Steve McLaren, but he might actually know him considering he's played in the Dutch league and everything. So, managed in the Dutch league. Maybe it is anyway. I'm just waffling there about how good Magnuson's been. But the thing is, he's done it to me now twice. In that he's come in, done a job, done it well. Obviously not as good as he was on FM15, but still, it was always a step up. Newcastle to Milan, very, very different. Especially now when I've brought in a lot more wonder kids. I think I've been pretty much here the same time as well. I spent about 5 years at Newcastle before moving on. Went to Aston Villa for some demented reason. I can't quite remember why. Here's Kennedy, good shot there, and I think I might have even made Emmanuelson like an assistant manager or something at one point in that Derby, or at I think I went somewhere else before I went to Derby, but anyway, that's right. Remember, I spent 10 years before I won my first trophy on FM15. Yeah, so if you think all is lost by the time you get to 2022, get to the World Cup in Qatar and all that, and you haven't won anything, don't worry, plenty of time. Speaking of time, not much left here. There's half an hour, but we haven't been able to. Hang on, chance for Gotti is it's a penalty. There we go. Zambrano trips old Sheik, and who's going to take this? Number 21 is stepping forward, and it is indeed the man of the moment, Herbie Emmanuelson. Just talking about him. Can he do me one final favour treat here? Indeed he can. That's a lovely finish. His second goal of the season, and this is why bringing him in for free, especially, is so useful, and he's just so good to have around. Not to mention his experience and everything, and the fact that he can play at left wing, he can play at left back. I'm pretty sure he can play in other positions, and you can train him perhaps to play at right back if even it won't be amazingly, he won't be particularly great at it, but you can get him in there if you really need to. His versatility is there, and that's what I like about him. And yes, sometimes he has let me down in a couple of games, but he's got enough credit in the bank where I don't necessarily mind it. Yeah, I'll rage for a little bit and be like, oh, you've let me down, grr. And then you take a step back and you go, okay, fair enough. He's done a job, a very good job. And even then, when I gave him a contract, I think a couple of years ago, I think I gave him a 2-year extension or something, the fans weren't particularly happy. They were saying, oh, I'm not sure he's up to this level anymore, which I thought was a bit unfair. Certainly the scouts and the assistant managers and the coaching and everyone's saying, oh no, he's not, he's like half a star now, which is no good at all. That's the equivalent of I'm pretty sure that's like the equivalent of bringing a League One player into your team, which is not what you want to do. But here's a chance now. I just need to concentrate now and make sure that Torino don't grab a late winner. We are going to go to counter, just to make sure we don't overdo it at the back. And Rashina goes close there. Kennedy again, not really having the desired impact. I'm going to make 2 final changes. Baumgartel is looking a bit nervous, so we are going to bring on Mangala, just so... Yeah, Kennedy looking very nervous. Just going to make 1 change, in fact. Yeah, he's not doing it for me, Kennedy, really. It's a shame because, again, going back to another older FM, he was one of the players who really became great. I think it was, in fact, FM... Was it 15 or 14? He signed for Manchester United and he was just ripping the league up for years. He was amazing. I think Man United had him and another sort of Brazilian wonder kid or someone. I think it might have even been Firmino. Obviously before he signed for Liverpool, obviously. And they were just fantastic. A wonderful sort of front. They had a fantastic front three, and he was the one, at one point, the highest rated or valued player on the game. So he's certainly got the potential. Whether he's living up to it at the moment is, I can't actually believe it's just stopped the highlights as the ball crosses that line there. Well, obviously never going in. But a good experience again for young Gotti here, and Ferry, and old Sheik, who is still, let's not remember, he's, despite the name, is still only about 22 years old. He's still developing. Usually by the time you get to about 23, usually they stop developing towards that potential and they just sort of stay where they are. Obviously, the green arrows will continue in certain attributes, especially if you're training them, obviously. However, as a young player, the development slows down until they hit about 30-ish, I think. I don't quite, obviously it's different for every player, depending on things like the natural fitness and so on, determination and all sorts. I mean, it's like Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. It's not unusual to see him play as good as, you know, the top player in the Premier League, Liga and Serie A, Bundesliga. You know, if he's still at Real Madrid, despite the fact he could be 40 years old and his stats look incredible. So it's not exactly unplausible, if that's a word. We've qualified for the Champions League. That was to be expected, however. They're the budgets. That is now just silly. I mean, this is what happens if you are Milan and you do manage your budgets carefully and you don't overspend and you don't get silly with buying, you know, left, right and centre. Just stick with what you have. Just work with what you have. Perhaps, you know, tweak a few things. I say bring in a few freebies like Emmanuelson, and then over time your budget just explodes into this. I mean, this is just silly. What am I couldn't spend that if I ever tried. Look, I mean, I can adjust that. That in fact, if your wage budget is £1 million or over, that's too much. you can't do enough with that. That's the manager. Right, so we look at the league then. 6 games to go. Top of the league. Again, 8 points the gap. I'm feeling confident, but we move on to focus against Arsenal. That was with a rotated team, so we should be able to play pretty much a full strength team when we come to this game. It's going to be at home, 1-0 deficit. I think we can take them. Thank you very much for watching. Please do tune in tonight. The video should be uploaded around about 6, between about 6 and 8 o'clock, and that's a big window, but it'll probably be, I'd say, between about sort of 6 or 7, half 7, at the latest 8 o'clock. So do come back for that. If you are watching in the future, just click next video. It'll be right there. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.